everyone, welcome to this week's Trimcraft Tuesday video. This week I'm going to be making some alternative Christmas cards. Now what do I mean by alternative? I don't mean Christmas cards that scream heavy metal at you, though that would be awesome. What I mean is using a mix of non-Christmas craft items and a little bit of Christmas craft items to create some, non-traditional Christmas cards that use various different kinds of collections. I've just made one to show you, which is a mix of Dovecraft Folkland and first edition Perfect Christmas, which I can show you here. Now using Folkland is cheating a little bit for this first card because Folkland does have a little bit of a festive vibe, like those red colours and the gold and stuff. You know, it is slightly easier to use, but I've matched it with Perfect Christmas for some more traditional Christmas colours. So I've just used this sort of snowflake red one in the background there and this holly berries one, added the sentiment with some glitter cards in the back, and there we go, non-traditional Christmas card. I just thought these cards would be a fun idea for something a little bit different for Christmas, and also maybe for those of you who maybe don't have the budget to buy a full Christmas craft collection or just simply don't want to, then you can get minimal Christmas craft supplies and just match them with stuff that's already in your stash. So as I said, this first one is made with Folkland, and I'm going to use some different Trimcraft collections, obviously, from this year and match them with a little bit of Trimcraft Christmas supplies and make a couple of cards. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and talk over what I'm doing and make a couple more. Okay, let's get going. Okay then, so this first card is made with Paper Addicts Pawsome prints and Paper Addicts Happy Holidays. I'm using a lot of Paper Addicts paper pads in this video. Again, what I was saying about, you know, if this is something people want to do, if they're maybe on a budget, then the Paper Addicts pads are really good for that. The Christmas ones in the range at the moment, anyway, last time I was in there, are $2.99 for the 12x12, which is amazing as it is. I think it's £1 for the 6x6 and £1 or £1.50 for the 10x10 centimeters, which is just fabulous if you ask me. The 12x12s are my favourite as well. So many fussy cutting opportunities in those paper pads. Anyway, let's talk about what I'm doing. So I've taken a 5x7 white card blank, and as you saw, I just ripped up sort of 2 strips from that snowflake paper, and I've used that sort of snow scene with the red and green and white as a background and just sort of assembled it like so. And I think that's all I'm going to use in regards to Christmas items on this card. And then I'm taking the Pawsome Prints pad and choosing 3 very cat themed papers. There's one with little mice and 2 with little cats on, and I've punched those with a 2-inch circle punch, and I'm also just punching some white cardstock just to put those papers on because they are papers, and just to make sure they're nice and sturdy. I'm putting them on the cardstock. Now I'm just showing you there, I have die cut this little cat with one of the new Simply Creative dies. I did use some more of that Christmas one, just to die cut a black cat, that's it. I did back it with white as well, just so I coloured in the mouth and the ears just with a blushy pink kind of colour, and the collar in red, and he's all ready to go, my little cat. And I'm just going to, the 2 circles on either side I've put flat with some tacky glue, and this one I'm just going to raise up on a couple of little foam squares there, well, foam rectangles technically. So that's that part of the card. And then for my sentiment, I am just taking a scrap, just a little strip there of white cardstock, and I'm using these stamps here, these little alpha stamps, which I'm not sure where they're from because I got them on a D-stash on Facebook, but I'm using those to spell out meowy Christmas because I love a good pun, and just they were a little misbehaving, those letters, I will say, the I in particular. But anyway, I'm using my Tim Holtz stamping platform for that. I made the mistake of using VersaFine black ink for this. I always forget every time I use it that it takes longer to dry than the other black inks I'm used to, and I always smudge it, and I did that on this card as well. Anyway, I just cut that strip down just a little bit around the sentiment I'd stamped, and I've added this little paw print paper behind it, and to cover up the fact that I needed 2 bits of paper behind it, because obviously the 10x10 centimeter pad is not long enough to back that, I've just ripped them up and you can't really tell. And I'm going to use more of those Pawsome papers just to punch out some little snowflakes. This one here I'm punching, there's tiny little cat and dog like faces, so I've punched those so the little cat faces are in the middle of the snowflake. One of those things you'll only see if you really look hard. Now to cover up my smudges, which they were quite bad, I am just doodling some little paw prints on there. I don't have any paw print stamps that small, but the doodles, they're so easy to do, and it just adds a little sort of fun, quirky little extra to the card. I'm finishing off by doing a dash border around those circles, just a simple faux stitch kind of thing with a gel pen, and I believe, oh no, I'm just filling in the cat's eyes white with a white gel pen, and there we go. Card number 1 complete. So card number 2, I am using the Paper Addicts Krafty Joy paper pad. Love this paper pad for my Christmas thing, and then I'm using the V&A 2 collection, very recent collection, for my non-Christmas one. I was just showing you there, I used the embossing folder from the collection just to emboss that paper or bit of paper from Krafty Joy, and I'm just choosing what paper to back that with. I'm using an A6 card blank for this one, an ivory one. The ivory goes lovely with the V&A collection. And A6, there's something about A6 cards in the V&A collection that just really work beautifully together. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just thinking that way because that's the size of the embossing folder. Anyways, so I've just layered those 2 bits up together, and then I'm going to cut a little piece here again with the Krafty Joy. That's about 2.5 by 3 inches, and I'm just using this stamp here, which is from Poundland, to stamp and emboss Merry Christmas on there. I'm using a gold sparkly embossing powder, that's its new name, for my little sentiment there. And then I'm going to back it with that green paper that you can just see on the left there. I thought red and green, Christmas, obviously. So even though they're kind of muted with like obviously the vintage vibe, not even vintage V&A, it's antique. But anyways, yeah, it works for Christmas. It really does. So I'm just putting my little sentiment piece there. I distressed the edges, backed it onto that green bit, cut it around about 1/4 inch round, and then just adding a few little embellishments. So I'm adding one of these beautiful glittery paper roses, so pretty. I wanted to add a bow as well, and I thought the creamy satin bow looked just a bit better for the Christmas vibe than the sort of the deep red one. I don't know why, I just did. So I'm just putting those on with glue dots, because usually I would probably use a glue gun, but I was too lazy to plug it in and wait for it to heat up, so that's why I've used glue dots. And I'm going to finish off here with a couple of pearls just around that flower. The pearls I'm using are Simply Creative ones. Some of them are called Christmas pearls, which are from last year's Christmas releases, but they're still pearls at the end of the day, so I'm not saying they're Christmas things, they're non-Christmas things, I have decided. So just doing graduated sizes there, big, middle and small, and that card is finished. So my final card was a bit of a challenge to myself, because I am using Helz Cuppleditch Beach Life for this one. So yes, the quintessential British seaside town summertime collection, and I'm going to make it Christmassy. I'm also using Paper Addicts Magic Moments, which is what these little snowmen and polar bears come from. I'm using the frames from Beach Life to just sort of trace around some of these little shapes. I did think about fussy cutting them, but then I thought they would look better if they were like the whole sort of pattern and colour behind the frames. So after tracing them, cutting them out, and sort of cutting them slightly inside my pencil line so they're not going to stick out from behind the frame kind of thing. I was originally going to go with 2 pink frames and 1 green, because I do like that pink, because it can kind of look like snow if you think about it, but then I realised that blue with the polar bear on, at least I think it's a polar bear, anyway, looks so nice against the green, but I wanted to use the 2 snowmen. So anyways, so these 2 papers here that I'm cutting down, these are both from Beach Life. I thought the pink one, I've already said, you can cut, it kind of looks like it could be snow, and then this one I'm putting down here on a 5x7 card blank, by the way, is again, it's colourful snow. It's like rainbow happy snow, and that's what I'm sticking with. This pink layout I've cut slightly smaller, and I was just going around the edge there with a silver ink just to give it a slightly more Christmassy vibe there. And then I thought I just needed another colour as well, because I had that pink frame. I couldn't put that pink frame on that pink paper kind of thing. So this paper here is from Magic Moments, but it fits in with this whole sort of snowy thing I'm going for this card. It's like alternative different colours and types of snow. And again, I went around the edges with that silver ink pad. I recently bought this. They're called Encore Metallics. I think they buy, you know, that company that makes most of the inks, like Susukenka, I can't say, it's Japanese. Anyway, so I added that strip across the middle. I am sticking down my frames in that sort of shape with one up slightly higher, just with some tacky glue, adding a sentiment. So this is a Christmas item, Simply Creative, last year's collection, I believe, but it's silver and white, so it goes with this whole sort of modern-y silver vibe I'm going for with this card. But then I was like, I need more Beach Life in this card to make
it a success, basically. So I'm adding these puffy stickers, which are like bunting puffy stickers, and adding those around the top of the frames. And I'm going to add some on the bottom as well. So I was just sort of loosely putting them on here just to figure out how they would go on and how many I needed to do. And then once I had them like that, I am adding a little bit of tacky glue to each one, because obviously I'm sticking them down on the wood, and things don't like to stick to wood, really, do they? So yeah, just a little dollop of the tacky glue on there. And then yeah, I wanted some more, so I've just loosely drawn this like little line down, like little loopy bits at the end, like it would be little knots or something. And again, adding some banners to that. I am trying to do them in a certain order just so I don't get the same two colours next to each other or anything, but I'm not being too strict about it. Now some of them do kind of poke down the bottom of the card a little bit, but I don't think it's too bad. And there we go. 3+1 Christmas cards made with mostly non-Christmas craft items. Then 4 alternative Christmas cards made with non-Christmas craft collections with a little bit of Christmas thrown in just to make them, you know, Christmassy. Just to remind you of the collections, we've got Dovecraft Folkland mixed with First Edition Perfect Christmas, Paper Addicts Pawsome Prints mixed with Paper Addicts Happy Holidays, V&A2 mixed with Krafty Joy, and then of course Helz Cuppleditch Beach Life mixed with Paper Addicts Magic Moments. And as you can see, they are all really, really different cards, so you can create all sorts of things just throwing in those non-Christmassy craft items. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you did, or if you have any comments, any questions, or anything to say. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. All the links to the collections that I can find will be in the description box below, which is going to take a while because I use lots and lots of collections here. And of course, all the links to Trimcraft, social medias and websites and all that kind of stuff in the description box as well. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. As always, I am going. Thanks again. Bye bye!